Hey guys, John here for another little installment of our Fireside Chats. I've been kind of overwhelmed by the response we've been getting to these, and so I thought I would do another one tonight because the other day somebody wrote in a question that I decided not to use on the show, but it made me think, and I thought it might be something interesting to kind of address here. Now, what the person wrote in was basically, hey John, you've been asked a lot of times, what's your favorite thing you've done in your career? Or what do you think the best career decision you ever made was? And they asked, I'd be curious to know, what is the worst career decision you ever made? And at first I kind of ignored the question because I thought it was just kind of a troll kind of question. But the more I thought about it, I thought, no, that's actually a really interesting question. So I definitely made mistakes in my career. Okay, there's no doubt, both mistakes in decisions I've made for myself, mistakes I've made as far as programming goes, mistakes I've made in terms of staffing, mistakes I've made. Look, I've made a lot of mistakes. There's no doubt about it. But what was the biggest mistake I've made? I think, and this is going to sound weird, so I need you to hear me out. I think the biggest mistake I ever made with my career was accepting the job at Collider. Now, before you go rushing to conclusions that what I mean by that was that I hated Collider and they were all just a bunch of poo-poo heads and stuff like that. That's not necessarily what I mean. I accepted the job at Collider, brought everybody over with me, and kind of the rest is history. And we did some amazing things at Collider Video. Absolutely. And again, I got to work with some absolutely amazing people, some not so amazing, but mostly completely amazing people. And we got to accomplish a lot of really cool things. Obviously I wasn't super happy with the way I had to leave and the way I chose to leave and some things going on there. So, John, why then was why was joining Collider the worst career decision you ever made? It was the worst career decision I ever made because I should have, at that point when I left AMC, I should have just gone out on my own at that point and not waited 3 more years to go out on my own. Working for myself has always been, back when I was doing the movie blog and stuff like that, working for myself was always A, the most satisfying, B, the best job security, even if income security wasn't always there. But it was obviously the best job security because somebody can't just walk in and fire me all of a sudden. But C was the most important thing. When I was at AMC, and I loved what we did at AMC, but also then when I was at Collider, I was wasting my time pouring my blood, sweat, tears, energy, and grief into building something that didn't belong to me. It belonged to somebody else. And ultimately, as much as they gave me a lot of creative freedom to run the place, I wasn't ultimately in charge. Certainly working for myself, the money has been much better. There's that too. So yeah, I think not because of anything bad at Collider or anything bad of anybody at Collider. It's just, I think my worst career decision ever was going to Collider, not because of Collider, but because of it delayed me years from doing what I really should have done, which was to break out on my own, bet on myself, and take my own destiny into my own hands, which has been much more fulfilling, much more satisfying, and much more lucrative, to be honest with you, at the same time. So yeah, I think going to Collider for those reasons was the worst decision ever in my career. All right, that said, I also thought, some people said I should take some questions from the audience when I do these live chats. So I jumped in the community tab and I asked a bunch of you guys earlier if you had any questions about some stuff, and I picked out 5. So here's 5 questions that you guys sent in to me. MP in7E writes, can you let us know if it's okay to be okay with Lindsey Graham passing away, even if we have nothing good to say about his ass? Well, this is stuff like this has unfortunately come up a bunch in the last couple of years. Look, there are clearly some people I don't like. I'm not a fan of Trumple foreskin or anything like that. But I also don't wish harm on anybody. And I certainly don't wish death on anybody. So, I mean, what does it benefit the world that Lindsey... And listen, I'm no fan of Lindsey Graham. I remember Lindsey Graham got to the kind of near the top of my shit list because before Trump became president, and long before Joe Biden ran for president, after the Obama era, there was like this little documentary about Joe Biden made. And one of the people they talked to was Lindsey Graham. And, Lindsey Graham was just talking so much glowing terms about Joe Biden. Lindsey Graham was like, Joe Biden is the one guy that for decades in the House, we all knew this guy can work across lines. This guy will work with everybody. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, and everybody respects Joe Biden and everybody loves Joe Biden. And I'll never forget this. Lindsey Graham said, if you don't like Joe Biden, then there's something seriously wrong with you. Like, I remember Lindsey Graham, a Republican, saying that. But then a couple of years later, once his Lord and Trump foreskin master said, no, we're supposed to bash on Joe Biden, Lindsey Graham came out and started talking all this crap about Joe Biden. I'm like, wait a minute, you're the same guy who just said for decades and decades and decades, Joe Biden's the best. He's as good as it gets. He's the best politician in the world. There's something wrong with you, don't like him. Oh, but now he's a piece of crap because Trump told you to say he's a piece of crap. So I just say that to put in terms that I'm no fan of Lindsey Graham. But that dude had a family that loved him. He had friends that he'd made connections with over the decades. And even if I deeply wanted him out of office, I don't know that it's ever okay, to be honest with you, since you asked me. I mean, I'm not going to judge anybody, but I don't personally think it's okay to wish that kind of harm on him. Do I wish he was out of office? Yes, but not like that. And we got to remember that as much as we may disagree with people like that, that dude had family, he had people who loved him, he had people he loved. And yeah, I don't think it's okay for us to wish harm. All right. The next up comes to us from Cadiez1025, who writes, how did you feel comfortable switching to doing what you do versus balancing responsibilities of having a traditional career path? Maybe too off topic. No, that's a perfect kind of topic for a fireside chat. How did I feel okay leaving my job at a law firm and going out to work for myself doing a movie blog? And that's how I started. I was working at this law firm in Hamilton, Ontario. I was working in civil litigation. And my little blog got my first paycheck for Google ads for $400. It was so novel that even the local newspaper ran an article on me. It's like, local guy makes money blogging. I felt okay doing it because I've always been somebody who's willing to take risks, calculated risks, and I've always been very good with my money. So even though I wasn't making a ton of money at the law firm, I'd saved up about $17,000 or $18,000 in my savings. And I thought, and I was living in a no-bedroom, 600 square foot bachelor apartment that I was paying, I think, $600 a month rent on. So I was living on about $1,200 a month for my expenses. And I figured, you know what? I should give this a go. I did the math. I had enough money saved up that I could go about a year if things didn't go well. I had enough money that I could give it a shot for a year. And then if that didn't work, I could always go back into law or something else. So I felt comfortable doing it, number one, because I believe in taking risks. But number two, I believe in taking calculated risks, measuring the amount of risk, what's my fallback, all that kind of stuff. And when I did that, and I just figured I put myself in a good position to succeed, I took the leap and did it. Next up, Chase Grimm writes, can you explain how you were able to assess how well a film was directed? For me, it's difficult to separate an assessment of an actor's acting, the script, and the directing all from each other. Great question, and here's how I do it personally. There are 1,000 different disciplines that go into making a film, right? Costume design, script, music, score, cinematography, the acting, so on and so forth. To me, the directing is about how well are all those elements brought together and flow in a harmony. When they are brought together from the shots to the music, which the director oversees all of this, to the performances, which the director works directly with the actors to determine what kind of performance he wants out of them. To me, it's all about how well does it all come together and flow in one beautiful harmony. A movie like The Invite, which I just watched, which is right now my new favorite film of the year, is a perfect example of that. The shots, the performances, the dialogue, the music, all brought into this, and it just flows so beautifully. How it all comes together to me is about how good of a job the director did. So that's what I think. All right. Next up, Nelson Vision writes, what is the moment since you launched your show that you felt I made the right choice and everything is going to be okay? How long did it take to get to that moment? I think for me, that moment was month 2 when I saw my Google AdSense revenue. Because I remember when Ann and I talked about me leaving Collider and just going out to do my own YouTube channel alone. I thought if I can make $200 a month to start, maybe we'll be okay. And I think at the end of my second month, the Google AdSense check was like $2,000. And I think, well, how big was the end of the first one? Well, I had started when there was only about a week left in the month. So it was about $200. So that didn't really count as the first month. So the end of the second month, which was really weeks 2 through week 6, it came out to about $2,000. And that's when I knew, I think I made the right choice. All right, last one, because this has been already the longest Fireside Chat. Time writes, YouTube question. There is so much info to consume about how to grow on YouTube. How do you know what's legit and what's junk? Example, SEO, thumbnails, titles, watch time, views, CTR, or does it all matter and you just have to figure it all out? Thanks for the show. I know that I am not a YouTube expert, but for me personally, all that stuff helps. A good thumbnail absolutely helps. A good title absolutely helps. But if I'm being honest, to me, at the end of the day, you just got to have content that people enjoy watching. And from day one, I've always known, for me personally, I'm never going to make a show that everybody likes, because not everybody's going to agree with me, and that's fine. And not everything is for everybody. So I'm totally comfortable with that. But what I decided was I'm going to make a show that I would enjoy watching. And if I enjoy watching it, there's bound to be at least some other people that would enjoy the same things I do, and maybe we can build a community around that. Well, you know what a thumbnail will do? It'll get somebody to click on your video once, but it's not going to make them subscribe, and it's not going to make them want to come back. A great title might make somebody click on your video once, but none of that matters. What really matters, at least for a creator like me, is in the long term, building a community of people who just want to keep coming back and enjoy talking with us, enjoy talking with each other. We like the tone that we set. We like the topics we discuss. We don't always agree on those topics, and that's the point. We shouldn't always agree, but we have a good time talking with each other about it regardless. And it's that stuff, building a community, making sure you have great content that engages your viewers. Ultimately, in the long term, everything else is about getting the first click. But none of it matters unless you make somebody want to stay. I would just focus completely on yourself, how you communicate, and the temper and tone of the content that you're creating. That's what has worked for me, at any rate, and maybe it would work for you, maybe not. And okay, guys, that will wrap up tonight's session of Fireside Chat. Actually, my fire is I've been going long enough, my fire is starting to die down. Thank you, but it's still making smoke. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you found this fun to do. And if you've got topics or topics of interest you would like me to make about another Fireside Chat, let me know down below. And hopefully, I'll see you on the John Campea Show tomorrow. Talk to you then.